Hello and welcome to Vintage Horror Movies, where we provide commentary, analysis, and criticism of older horror movies. This episode, I want to talk about the three film versions of The Bat. The Bat is based on a book called The Circular Staircase from 1908 by Mary Roberts Rinehart. She is known as the American Agatha Christie. She introduced the Had But I Known narrative style. Basically, it means the narrator keeps key pieces of evidence from the police, apparently for the sole purpose of prolonging their work and, of course, making the book or movie possible. At the end, there's a big reveal by the main character, who's usually also the narrator. This technique was popular in the golden age of mystery writers between the 1920s and 1930s. It was characterized by the dominance of a number of female authors, many British. So besides Rinehart, we have Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers, Marjorie Allington, just to name a few. These authors were known as the queens of crime, and they established many of the conventions of the genre, including the puzzle-solving aspect, fair play rules, and the depiction of seemingly respectable murderers. Hopefully, I'll do more episodes on each of them. So we talked about the book. There was a silent film based on the book from 1915 by the Selig Company, but unfortunately, like many silent movies, it no longer exists. The other three movies are based on a very popular play, The Bat, from 1920, also co-written by Rinehart. So first we have The Bat from 1926, which was a silent movie. Then we have The Bat Whispers from 1930. This is one of the earliest talkies and one of the first widescreen movies. Roland West directed both of these versions. Then we have The Bat from 1959, starring Agnes Moorehead and Vincent Price. Just as an aside, I thought all three of these movies were in public domain, but I couldn't upload the 1959 The Bat, so instead I have uploaded the 1926 silent movie version to this channel. Where to find these movies? They're all available on YouTube, the Internet Archive. Tubi has the last two, or Amazon. They are considered horror comedies, whodunits, or mystery thrillers. So if you're looking for hardcore horror, these are not the movies for you. Rotten Tomatoes scores. The 1926 movie, critics did not rate it. Audiences gave it a 48%, which is not bad for a movie that's almost 100 years old. The 1930 version, critics gave it a 67, audiences gave it a 55. The 1959 version, critics gave it a 17%, audiences gave it a 47%. So obviously critics did not like that movie. The Bat is important for several reasons, one of which is that a number of the things we now regard as film cliches actually started here. So eccentric characters trapped in an isolated and possibly haunted house, and this is the beginning of the old dark house genre. DC Comics' Batman is said to be based on these movies, at least partially. The bat signal appears in the 1926 version and caused fear amongst the house's inhabitants. And I want to show you what that looks like. You can decide for yourself. It looks pretty close to the bat signal to me. So how they explained it in the movie was that there was a moth on the headlight of a car that was shining through the front door into the living room of the house. But very close to the bat signal. And then third, it is also said this is where the Joker got some of his methods, like announcing to the police that the crimes he was planning. Here he tells them via a bat-shaped card. The general plot. So basically, Cornelia Van Gorder and her staff arrive at the Oaks, and it's a mansion she's rented for the summer from bank president John Fletcher. There is someone out and about called the Bat, and he wants something that's hidden in the house. More people arrive, including the police, Fletcher's nephew, a private detective, a gardener, a doctor, Van Gorder's niece, etc. And this, of course, gives us more options for suspects. Can you figure out who the Bat is? I'm not going to tell you and spoil the fun, but I will go over some of the differences between these three versions and also some general trivia. Obviously, there are many similarities between these movies, but the major differences are the first two movies start with a murder. They also include a jewel thief. The last movie just has a killer who apparently wants in on the missing money. In the first movie, Bank President Fleming is found dead. In the second, he's traveling to Europe. And in the third, he's alive when the movie starts. The first two movies have Lizzie the maid setting a bear trap for the bat. I thought that was fun. And the 1929 version has Miss Cornelia as a crime novelist. So I thought that was a great addition. Now, the bat looks different in all three movies, and I'll show you a quick clip of each. In the first, he has big ears that make him look like a mouse. I guess he's supposed to be a bat. And he also has fangs for some reason. So here's what he looks like in the first movie. Not sure you can run around the street dressed like that, but that's what he looked like. In the second movie, he just has a big cape and he has two eye holes for some reason. And he makes all of these shadows against the wall as the bat. So here's what he looks like. I think if I saw him, I would laugh, but then of course he would kill me. So that's the second movie. And in the third movie, the bat has a fedora and a nice suit, and for some reason, he has claws. He also wears a stocking on his face to obscure his features. I'm not sure what these claws are about. Looks like they would get in the way. But he did use them to cut through the glass to open a door at one point. So those are the three different looks of the bat. The character of the Doctor is expanded in the 1959 version, played by Vincent Price. He's experimenting on bats for some reason, and he even has a decoration of a bat behind glass and obscured with a curtain in his office/lab. Not sure what that's about. In the first movie, the butler is played by someone who's supposed to be Japanese. The language referring to this person is problematic, so I'm glad they did not include it in future movies. In the second movie, there's a curtain call, and an actor breaks the fourth wall and advises audiences not to reveal the identity of the bat, or he will get them. In the first movie, they ask audiences not to reveal the identity on the title card at the beginning of the film. Trivia: the 1930 version had a number of innovative film techniques that are still impressive today, such as the opening panning shot, long zooms into rooms, great shadow work, good use of miniature sets, and compelling, very spacious sets, including long staircases. Like I said, the 1930 version, surprisingly, is still very good today. The first two movies were created pre-Hays Code, which ran from the 1930 to 1968, and that was basically a morality clause that said that violence, murder, or sex could only be referred to and not shown on screen. And if someone did something bad, they had to pay for it by the end of the movie. This was later replaced by the MPAA rating system, which had G, PG, R. I don't think X was technically one of those. Roland West, the director of the first two movies, might be most famous for being the boyfriend of famous actress Thelma Todd. They owned a popular cafe together. She was found murdered, and the crime remains unsolved. Now, I did hear someone say that on his deathbed he had confessed to Chester Morris that he actually killed Thelma. I have no idea if that's true or not. And Chester Morris was the actor who received top billing in The Bat Whispers. He is best known as Boston Blackie in a series of movies about a criminal turned detective in the 1940s. My favorite line in this movie is when Lizzie says to Miss Cordelia, "For 20 years I've stood by you through socialism, theosophism, and rheumatism, but I'm drawing the line at spookism," because she thought the house was haunted. There's also a funny line where Miss Cordelia is interviewing the gardener, and she asks him what he knows about alopecia, rubella, and something else, and he thinks those are plants. And she obviously knows he's not a gardener because actually that's baldness and measles. The 1926 and 1930 versions are slapstick at times. They are basically, they have a couple of Three Stooges type chases. Several of the characters are completely over the top. They all chase each other down a laundry chute, onto the roof, up and down ladders, lots of stairs, down hallways, into each other's rooms, etc. In the first two versions, Dale is Cornelia's niece and in love with the prime suspect of the bank. He's a teller, and he's a suspect because he was last seen with the money, so she's trying to clear him. RKO bought the rights to make the 1930 version from Mary Pickford since she produced the 1926 version. United Artists, incidentally, was founded in 1919 by Pickford, her then husband Douglas Fairbanks, Charlie Chaplin, and D.W. Griffith. Vincent Price was not happy with the 1959 version. He hoped it would be more like the play, which he had seen as a child. Vincent Price, of course, needs no introduction. He did 100 plus horror movies, and he is one of the greatest horror actors of all time. I watch anything with him in it. In the 1959 version, this is only the second time Agnes Moorehead played a leading role. The other movie was 1970's Dear Dead Delilah, and you may best know her as Endora, Tabitha's mother in the TV series Bewitched. Moorehead had a Primetime Emmy, 2 Golden Globes, including Best Supporting Actress for Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, and was nominated for 4 Academy Awards and 6 Emmy Awards as Supporting Actress. Lanita Lane, who played Lizzie in the 1959 version, was married to director Crane Wilbur, and I very much enjoyed her performance. This was the last time she appeared in a movie. Also, Darla Hood played Judy in the 1959 version. She was best known as Darla in the Our Gang shorts, and this was also her last film performance. Should you watch these movies? Yes, definitely. If you can watch only one, though, I would suggest The Bat Whispers. However, if you're a fan, try all three, since you can see how the same source material is adapted for a silent movie, an early talkie, and then later's a 1950 movie. I would say avoid the colorized version of the 1959 movies. It was one of the first colorized movies, and it really looks weird. Besides, I like black and white movies better anyway. It adds to the atmosphere. Are these movies a masterpiece? No, definitely not. But who cares? I've seen a lot worse, and they are entertaining. Uh, just don't get frustrated if the movies don't make any sense, especially the last one. Before we close, I'd like to show you some quick promo or marketing materials from the movies. So here's one from the 1926 silent version. And let's see, here's one from the 1930 version where we said Chester Morris gets top billing. Also, these guys even look like the Three Stooges. And lastly, let's see, I have one here from the 1929 version. When it flies, someone dies. So obviously, as we know, the marketing material does not necessarily have anything to do with the actual plot of the movie. And here it says, after seeing the bat, 3 out of 4 will look under their bed. Don't really know if that's true or not. And then let's see, what else have I got? Oh, just a couple of stills from The Bat from 1959. So Vincent Price, Agnes Moorehead. I really wish they had done more movies together because I think they would have been great. And also with Moorehead and Lizzie as the maid. I definitely enjoyed the character of Lizzie. So that's it for this episode. Please let me know in the comments if you watched any or all of these. I would be very interested to see what you think. And until next time, watch out for the bat.